All right, what's going on, Spurs Nation? OC is back. We're trying out a new platform today, brought to you, founded, researched by your one and only Destin. Thank you, Destin.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
We've been having a lot of issues with our live streams, man. So Destin came in clutch here with finding StreamYard. So we're gonna see how this goes. You guys let us know in the comments below if it's just a better show and you like it or whatnot. All right, make sure you let us know. Make sure to click the subscribe button, the like button, all that good stuff right now. Like right now. Okay. Joining us today, I just told y'all right now, Destin's here from you know him as Clan the Spurs fan or Spurs Wave. What's going on, Destin?
Not much, man. Not much. It's not going to be Spurs Wave for much longer. Wave is wanting people to change their name, so I don't know what I'll change it to yet. But
oh, okay, well, that's interesting.
mm-hmm.
That's interesting. All right, and also we got Harrison from San Antonio Spurs Talk Facebook page. What's going on, Harrison?
What's up? Hey, I apologize if I'm lagging. I don't have Wi-Fi in my new place yet, so I'm struggle busing it right now.
Oh, you're all good.
No, it doesn't sound too bad actually. So we just got to be a little bit patient. As a teacher, it's called extra time. He needs a little extra time to get his responses out. Okay, so first up that we're going to talk about, Lamarcus Aldridge is out for the return of the season going into Orlando, and that's a big hit to us. He did miss about 10 games throughout the season. So there is a little sample size to go in and dig through to see how we played without him, but it's definitely a loss. You know, it's definitely a big hit to us. He's our all-star. He's our guy. He's a walking bucket. He's a 20 and 10 machine, you know, so what do you guys think right off the top about losing LA going into this return of the season?
Me personally, I'm not that upset about it, and the only reason why I'm not that upset about it is only because I'm thinking I'm assuming that other teams are going to lose guys too. I'm assuming that not everyone is going to actually be here, especially after all the protests, which is necessary, but all the protests. I think it's safe to assume some of these players are just not going to be there because, you know, either from the virus or they just don't want to, you know, risk it and whatnot. So I could definitely see it being, I know where everyone says it's going to be asterisk or whatever for whoever wins the championship. I could definitely see this not being as big a deal in the future. Maybe LA is just the first one that we hear about that's not going to be there. What do you think about that, Harrison? Oh, you're muted, Rob. I don't know if you were saying anything.
Oh yeah, go for it, Harrison. Harrison. Well, I feel like he's like Wilson, and we're like in Castaway. I'm like, Harrison, no, I'm sorry, Harrison. No, Well, what I was gonna say, I think we are gonna see until he comes back on. He'll probably join us back in a few seconds, but I know his was because he elected to take the surgery when we went on hiatus, and I think that's real smart of him, honestly, and to not know what I mean, because you go back to when everything went to a cancel, to a screeching halt, no one knew what was going to happen. So I think it was kind of smart. Hey, you know what? Let me take care of the shoulder that's been bugging me, and because we don't know when we're going to come back, but I think we do know Harrison's back, baby.
Yeah, this thing is pissing me off.
Harrison, what do you think about Lamarcus Aldridge missing the comeback because of injury, because of his surgery?
Hey, the thing about that is, man, the Spurs have news on lockdown, man. Like, he had that stuff done in late April. Dude. We're just hearing about that now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I mean, yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is. You know, I think in the end, it's just about making sure guys are ready to go next year at this point. You know, we're still going to push for it, but hey, if anything, gets the young guys a chance. So maybe it's for the best.
Yeah, I hope so. And you know what? I think, you know, his was because of, you know, recovering from his surgery. But today we started getting reports that some players are going to elect just not to come back and just not play because of the whole coronavirus situation. You know, the ones that may have underlining health conditions may not want to put themselves at risk. That's one. Two, maybe because of the turnaround, they're expected to have a month off or less than a month off. If they go to the championship of this ending of this season, they're only going to have about a month off, I think they're saying, before the start of the next season. So some players may elect not to play because of that. But they're not going to get penalized for not playing. They're just going to lose a portion of whatever they would have made for those games, just a portion of it, not all of it. But I do y'all think we're going to see a lot more players just start waving the white flag on this thing?
I think so. I think that's where, like I said, I think that's where the asterisk would come in. There's going to be plenty of players, I think. Maybe not the superstars, but I think it's going to be enough to make a difference. That's why when I heard the news on LA, I didn't freak out. Yes, it hurts our chances, but at the same time, maybe it'll even out. Maybe, him being out and then another player being out on another team, another player being out on another team, maybe it won't make as big of a difference. I don't know. That's my opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then, you just got to take into account, too, in addition to the corona, a lot of these guys haven't done anything. Well, not done anything, but played actual competitive basketball in about 3 months now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just asking for injuries for a lot of guys. And now they're supposed to go out there and compete for a championship. So, yeah, I agree. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a couple more. And it's going to be interesting to see. And this is what will make me mad. It'll be interesting to see which star players decide not to play. Mm-hmm. But I think what's going to make me mad is I completely understand if they choose not to. It's not unreasonable. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of that, oh, he's soft stuff going around. And that's my least favorite thing in the league.
Yeah.
So I'm like, come on, y'all really want to battle against these guys and call them soft? But
another interesting part of it is what the free agent class is going to do. I wouldn't be surprised if we see 20 of the players who are going to be, the top free agents in next year's class, like DeMar DeRozan, if he opts out of his contract, what those guys are going to do, if they're going to elect to just, and you know what, and the question is, do y'all really care? Do you guys really care that these guys sit out? I mean, I really don't. And like you said, there is going to be an asterisk on the season. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with, seeing a mixture of younger talent, younger players getting opportunities to play, not just on the Spurs, but across the league. A lot of players that were not on rosters right now are having opportunities to make rosters, right? These G League players as well. So I wouldn't mind seeing those guys get a little bit more opportunity in this, in this circus of a ending of the season.
Yeah, and another thing is, man, this season, especially how it's going to be set up, if you win, the reason why I'm not crazy about people saying that, does it count if you win this year? I think at the end of the day, it will count, unless it's just straight up, no superstars at all playing. I think it should count, and I don't think people should put an asterisk on it, only because when I think about it, the position we're in, for instance, it's only 8 games left. We're gonna have to fight our asses off to even get a chance at the playoffs. And and then you have the tournament between the 8th and the 9th, and then the rest of the season, there's no home court advantage. It's just you versus this guy, who's better. And I think that is going to be very interesting to see. And as far as, do I care whether or not these players are playing or not? Not totally, man. I mean, playoff experience will still be playoff experience. If we can make it in somehow, I know some people say we shouldn't, but if we do, it'd be nice to see Lonnie Walker and Keldon Johnson get that playing time and get that experience. We know DeJounte Murray kind of already got quite a bit of experience technically, so yeah, it's going to be nice to see, in my opinion. What you think?
One thing is, especially, we have Aldridge out already. It's to your point with the asterisk, we may not be playing some stars, but we may not have our stars. So I think it's going to be a lot more even competition than people think. And it's, I mean, all these guys are good. There's some better than others, but I mean, you're going to have role players, stars sitting out, so every team is going to be hurting, and I think that's just going to make it even more interesting, if anything. So who knows?
As long as that banner doesn't have an asterisk, I don't care. I'll go out,
Yeah.
I'll go out and get it. I'll go out and get it. Whoever's on our team, and Lamarcus not being there is gonna open the door to the question. Okay, who is this gonna give an opportunity to? Right? Who's gonna get these minutes that Lamarcus is giving up right now? And I feel like a big, let me just throw some names at you guys, and then you guys tell me what y'all think. The main ones that we got to think about is Jakob. Obviously, I think that there was a report from Jeff Garcia out about 2-3 months ago that he was healthy, that he's 100% healthy right now, coming off of his meniscus sprain, and so he's ready to go. And then you have Drew Eubanks, then you have Chimezi Mitu, Trey Lyles, and Luka, right? So what do y'all think?
I just saw a comment. I didn't hear anything else, but I just saw a comment from Ruru that says, here, I can put it back on the screen. Let's see, where is it? That Jakob is not sure that Jakob will play. I haven't heard that, but if that is true, I think that's when I can start getting the territory where I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm genuinely worried, because that's the one spot where we're really weak at. So we're going to need some bigs. It will be cool if we bring in Luka. Will we? Probably not. That's probably not going to happen. That's how I feel about it. But yeah, we would definitely need Jakob and Drew Eubanks.
Yeah, so, I was actually wondering if Jakob would play at all, just because once he got hurt, they were kind of talking about shutting him down for the rest of the season. And it just, at least for me, it wouldn't make sense to say that back then and then have, no basketball activity and no, I guess, training to get better physically and just mentally, and then throw him back out there. So I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play. One guy that I'm actually excited to see, though, with Aldridge out is Trey Lyles, because I think Aldridge has missed like 8 or 10 games this season, something like that. And Trey Lyles has been really good every single time Aldridge has been out. I think he's averaging like 14, 10, and 3 in games without Aldridge. So, I mean, that's another name that could be fun, who technically is still a young guy on this team that could get some more burn, especially if Jakob's out. And I will say, if Jakob doesn't play, I think they probably look at like bringing in Metu or Eubanks, giving them some time. So it could be fun no matter what.
Yeah. From what I heard, Jakob is healthy. And I think he's one of those guys that maybe questions, do I come back and play? But I think he is a guy that does want to come back and play. If I were to put any money on it, I would think he does. If I was going to put money on it right now, I'd say he's available, right? And if he's available, then and he wants to play, I see him there. But you're absolutely right, Harrison. Look, let me give you all a little sneak peek. I'm doing a video right now, a film room, on how we play when Lamarcus Aldridge is out. And you're right on the money. He was out for about 10 games. Jakob got the start only in 4 of those games, and those were early on in the season. Those weren't like in this tail end of the season where Lamarcus Aldridge had this injury. But when Trey Lyles went berserk is when Lamarcus was out and Jakob was out. That's when Trey had a couple 20 point, like 10 rebound games. And he had, like, I have it here. I don't know where it's at, but his like last 8 games or last 6 games of the season before we let out was like 6 points, 20 points, 20 points, 17 points, 8 points, 16 points. Like, he was just going nuts, and over 7 rebounds every single game. And not only that, but he was filling it out too. He was like 2 blocks, a steal, 2 assists, a turnover, whatever, but he's very involved. So someone who I see being a guy who's going to be able to keep us glued together without Lamarcus is definitely going to be Trey Lyles.
Yeah.
He's been our most consistent player this year.
Yeah. He definitely, I know a lot of people compare him to Diaw. I mean, of course, he's not as good as Diaw, but he took on that role of, being that power forward that can be a little more versatile. You pass the ball decently well. I think he's a very good shooter. I know some people say he's inconsistent. I don't think so. I think he's a pretty good doggone shooter for his position.
Yeah.
And his defense is pretty underrated as well, especially when you're asking him to, sometimes run center, power forward, and small forward. I mean, he plays extraordinarily well on defense at those positions. So he is going to be a big part of this. I don't think that he can get a big, load on his shoulders and will be successful. That probably won't be the case, but he definitely can be a pretty good, like fourth, fifth option for scoring.
Yeah. No, yeah. No, he only looks silly on defense when he's defending at the 5. Honestly, when he's playing at the 5, which he did a lot this season, that's when he gets like put on posters. He got put on a lot of posters this year, and that's when he was at the 5. But to give him credit, he would come down right next play and give you the business. You know what I mean? So he was tough for us all year. He's going to be huge, and I feel like Chimezie and Drew will have a big part of this any way you want to slice it. I feel like if Jakob is there, Jakob wasn't the most consistent guy in the minutes column as well throughout this season, and I feel like he'll definitely be an asset for us here if he comes back and plays. But we're gonna have to ask a lot of Trey Lyles, Chimezie, Drew, and maybe even Luka. I wouldn't mind the Spurs throwing him in the fire in the last 7 or 8 games when once Jakob got hurt. That game on, Luka was already on the bench. He was called up from the G League. That the last like 2 or 3 weeks of the season, when Lamarcus went down and then Jakob went down. Now I was just waiting to see if he ever got any minutes, and he got some against Brooklyn, and that's because we were down 20 points in the first quarter against Brooklyn when we went over there, and all the young guys got to play. Quindary, everyone got to play. But I was waiting. I think the Spurs had it on their mind that they were getting ready to throw him in there.
Okay, so
one thing that was telling was when we played Dallas, a couple games before, they called him up just to have him sit on the bench because Pop wanted him to watch how Kristaps Porzingis played. So that kind of gives you an idea of like what they're thinking Luka could do skill set wise in the future.
Yeah. So you guys think that he's going to play in the last 8 games? Is that right?
I don't know. I'm not convinced. I mean, I think there's a chance. I think there's a better chance now, but I'm not 100% on that. I'm probably like 50-50. They could throw him in there. It helps now that the G League canceled their season. So if they don't throw him in there, he gets no runtime until December of this year. So that's one thing in his favor. Especially with also Quindary and Keldon, they have no other outlet, I guess. So it's one argument to throw them out there, but you just never know if they're going to stick with our vets or if they're going to try and just experiment and have some fun.
Would you sign anybody?
Nah. No. If I sign anyone, maybe it's some G League guys that are on the Austin Spurs team. Like what's his name? Big man. The other big man that's in Austin that no one ever talks about, Dedrick Lawson. Dedrick Lawson. He's balling out this year. Why not give him some an opportunity too? So I think that I think there's definitely gonna be opportunity for Luka in this end of the season. I feel like the Spurs can go the opposite route and be like, nah, we're not going to risk him. We're not going to risk him at all. Might as well just, put him in the can until next season. But I honestly think there's good opportunity for him to play, to get some good minutes. If the level of competition isn't at 100% in that arena anyways, then it's more sliding down towards G League level competition. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but if it does, then why not? Like you said, why not play Quindary, Keldon? Why not bring them all up and give them an opportunity? Hey, real quick, before we keep going, all you guys that are watching right now, we appreciate you guys leaving comments. But do us a favor, share this video, tweet it, do whatever you need to do for us here at OOC. We appreciate you guys.
Please.
Yeah. One more thing on like the signing stuff. I've seen a lot of people want us to sign centers and stuff like that. I know everyone gets stuck on the center thing, but it's actually one one point that a lot of NBA scouts and scout analysts make is that centers are right now. Center is the deepest position in the league, contrary to popular opinion. Centers are a dime a dozen. I mean, you can go out and get a good center for a vet min every year. I mean, look at how often they get traded around. I mean, Clint Capella was, the big contract guy in Houston. He's gone 2 or 3 years later because they're trying to bring someone else in. I mean, look at how fast DeMarcus Cousins has gone to a vet min player after injuries.
Yeah.
And I'd rather just use the bigs that we have on roster. I mean, I'd love to see Luka. I'd love to see Chimezi. I want to see Trey get out there. But if they do end up signing someone, and I don't think they will, I think it probably has to be a wing because right now the rarest talent in the league is a multifaceted wing, and there's just nobody in the pool of free agents right now that fits that bill. So I'm really in favor of just kind of going with what we have. You look at a multifaceted wing. We've got Keldon Johnson in the D League. You want a multifaceted big? We got Luka. We got Chimezi. Why not just stick with them, let them see what they can do, and get them some experience?
Yeah, and I mean, if we're being completely honest here, I mean, of recent, us signing bigs has not panned out the best. So why not just build one? Because it is not panned out at all. Trey Lyles is a pretty good one, but he's he could be a small forward, power forward, or a center. So yeah,
and the thing about Trey Lyles is that we're only paying him $5 million for the next for the 3 years that we have him. Like, we got him on a great deal. We're paying David $7 million a year for the past 3 years. You know what I mean? So yeah. Just to let you weigh that out in your mind for a second.
Yeah, we'll be fine. It's not that big.
And we got him guaranteed next year.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Trey's he's overperforming right now. He's over delivering for Spurs Nation right now for sure.
Hey, Rob, before we go into the next segment,
yes, sir.
This is very interesting to me. So, what do you think about this comment? Especially the last part of it. Do you think Keldon can play a small ball center?
I think that if he is, he definitely has the body for it. But if it's like a Houston Rockets type of system where you literally don't have anyone on the inside, on offense, then maybe. But I think he would. I don't know. He's strong enough. He's tough enough. He's smart enough defensively. But I don't think that's something that we do. That I see us doing with him.
I don't think so. I don't know if he's strong enough because, he's saying versus the Lakers,
big body.
I mean, there's somebody. Yeah, I mean, he's stocky, but I mean,
he's heavy, bro.
Lakers,
he's sneaky heavy.
Yeah, but I'm saying, even back with if we still had Kawhi, I don't know that I'd want Kawhi to consistently defend Anthony Davis. And then you look at Keldon. Would you want him to do that if Davis is playing center? I mean, and then they got JaVale McGee over there who can jump out the gym. It's just, he's definitely strong enough and he has the talent to be able to play the position. Yeah. I just don't know if he's going to play the position to the best benefit of us. But to me, I think Keldon grows another inch and I think he turns into a dynamite small forward. And I mean, I think that's his best skill set there, but I just don't see it as a small ball center. He's not stocky or he's not a big enough banger enough to get with those bigger guys.
Nah.
And in a small ball center offensive lineup, you need him to either be like Draymond Green level good facilitator, or he has to be a shooter. And Keldon's not either of those things.
No.
And like PJ Tucker in Houston, he's a facilitator too. It's just it's a very special kind of thing, but I just don't see it.
Hey, but
I agree with you, Ruru.
if Keldon was, if I would put $100 down on Keldon to be able to guard anybody, anybody. You know what I mean? Like I'm just gonna throw that. I'm gonna throw Keldon in that one right there.
For sure.
Just show him some love.
For sure. But there's no way. There's no way.
No. Small ball center, no. It would have to make sense on both sides of the floor, and I don't think it does on either side.
PJ Tucker isn't even going to survive doing it, so I don't think he'll be able to do it.
Yeah, the only thing with that is like if you're the Rockets, then you run PJ Tucker at the 5, and you have to do that so well that you make the other team get out of what they're doing to have to adjust to what you're doing. And they do, to give the Rockets the regard, they perform at that level. And so they do make a lot of teams go small against them versus going big. Like the Spurs would just put like 2 bigs out there on the floor and just high-low them to death. You know what I mean? Just to get layup after layup after layup. But yeah, no.
Yeah, it's also easier when you have as many floor spacers as Houston does, and you can really speed up the team. And a lot of the Rockets had success before all this with that small lineup. And really, the only reason they were having success is because they were gassing the centers just by running them up and down the court. So PJ Tucker didn't have to defend all that much. He just had to be in better, up and down the court shape than the rest of the guys.
Right. But yeah, no, that's not going to happen. As far as Keldon being center, it's just not going to happen. And as far as going against, if we go against the Lakers, we're just going to have to suck it up and go man to man. I think we'll just have to go as big as we can. Because I don't think the adverse of that we do necessarily better than them. Like we would just have to grind it out.
Now, if we're playing against,
I wouldn't mind seeing Keldon guard LeBron, though.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Harris. I was going to say now, if we're playing against the Lakers, I mean, we have to put Jakob or Trey Lyles on Anthony Davis. Then we can put Keldon on LeBron. I was like, that I have full confidence in.
Right. You can definitely see that.
All right, cool. So we're gonna take a little break from this topic. Let's go on to the next one that kind of came out today, which was that Spencer Dinwiddie has bought a home in San Antonio. And if you're gonna ask me, without any I'm no investigator or anything like that, but the trend has been in the NBA when players buy homes in some cities and it makes the news, it means that they're probably going to go to that team. Now that doesn't always happen, but it does happen a lot. And if I'm Spencer Dinwiddie and I'm in Brooklyn and I'm with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in that locker room every day, I'd want to go as far away as I could too. Now, because they're talking all this trash about no one's good on their team and just it's a cancer in that locker room already. And so if I'm Spencer Dinwiddie, I'm like, hey man, I want to be a max player guy, and I look good in black and white. And so now I also heard that his wife or something is from San Antonio, and they wanted to. I know I heard all that stuff too, but my fan brain is saying, "Come, Spencer, come."
I'm as big of a Kyrie hater as anybody. I mean, my heartbeat for Kyrie is as flat as he thinks the world is. But but here's the big reason Dinwiddie's not coming to the Spurs. He's still under contract through next season, and then he has a player option. And like you said, his girlfriend is actually Andre Roberson's younger sister. Mm-hmm. And the Robersons are Texas natives, so I think it's just getting a house there. But also, he did something, I can't even remember what all it was, but it was like he started a GoFundMe or something for charity, and he said whichever city donated the most money, he would sign with that team to let them. So, I mean, we could make it happen if y'all find his GoFundMe and go donate a bunch of money, but it's definitely not happening this off season for all the people that's saying that because he can't. But I mean, the year after he feasibly could, I guess.
Yeah, I love Dinwiddie, and me and some other people that I've talked to before. Like we've always said that Dinwiddie would be awesome if he played for the Spurs. But just the direction that the Spurs are going in, where we're so heavy with guards, I just don't see that happening, especially since he's probably going to get a lot of money too. I mean, I don't know if Dinwiddie's good enough to put a whole bunch of money in and invest in your future with, but I just don't see that happening whatsoever. Now, him getting that house in San Antonio, Rob, I hear you. You're saying that it happens all the time. I think you're trolling because I never see him pan out like that. Like they buy a house and they actually end up going to that team. I never seen it. I could be wrong.
Kawhi did it.
No, I heard that Kawhi was building the house, and it was literally like a few months before we traded him. Is that right? I remember that.
No, yeah. When you're planning those routes, you're planning those routes. You know what I'm saying? You know, so I don't know, man. If it's gonna happen, it has to be without DeMar DeRozan in the picture. That's the only way it happens. You know, because I don't think they play together, and I don't think that they can coexist together. But Dinwiddie,
you could do a mid-level exception, but he's gonna want more than that.
No, he deserves more than that too. Because and you're exactly right, Destin. I've always seen Dinwiddie the same exact way. He's like a Spur. He's a Spur type player in the terms of he made his own bones in the NBA. You know, he wasn't given nothing or whatever. You know, he's a player who I remember just hearing his name out of nowhere for a long, like he was just all over Twitter and he was all over this highlight reels and Dinwiddie. I'm like, who is this guy? He just came out of nowhere and then just earned himself a pretty nice contract or the opportunity to get a really nice contract in a few years. I don't know what his situation is now, but that's the type of player that I like. That's the type of player that Spurs like, those underdog guys who overachieve. He's one of those guys. Yeah,
and not to mention like off the court, he's a class act as well. I mean, and then when you hear him talk and speak to the media and stuff, he seems like a pretty intellectual guy. I'm a big fan of Dinwiddie, and I know that like I guess I just look at it in a fan perspective, like you said. Yes, I want him. It's awesome. Come on over to San Antonio. We're open arms. But then just a logical standpoint, I don't see why the Spurs would necessarily go get him right now. I mean, especially when you invested in DeJounte, and it looked like they're all in on DeJounte. You got plenty of other guards that you're trying to bring up. I just don't see why you would do that. And he's going to get paid a lot. And I just don't see us putting a lot of money into that, especially after this whole, I mean, let's just be honest, this whole LA project has not really panned out. I think Spurs are going to be even more hesitant to just sign big contracts to star players.
Well, especially also with Marcus Morris in the offseason, they've had some bad luck with free agents.
Yeah. I mean, that was just a catastrophe. So I could see them just saying, you know what, we're going to be even more hesitant than we've been already. And we're just going to, start from the ground up, start building our players. I mean, that's how it all started with the championship. So why not try to get back to that? That's what I see happening. I mean, I just don't see Dinwiddie coming.
So if you guys had the choice, I'll start with you, Harrison. If you guys had the choice, Dinwiddie or DeMar, who would you choose right now? Like, or not right now, but let's say after next year. Let's say that DeMar opts in, stays another season. Dinwiddie's his contract's up, and they're both free agents, and they're both knocking on your doorstep saying that they want to come to the Spurs. And Harrison, you're the GM. You're sitting there in that office, nice and tight. What are you gonna do?
Can I say neither?
No, you gotta pick one. You gotta pick one.
Come on.
Hey, we're San Antonio. We don't get a lot of people at our door. You gotta pick one of them. Come on.
Yeah, we also retain the right to shut that door. But
right.
I mean, just in terms of, I guess, skill set, I think Dinwiddie's a better fit. I love DeMar as a player. I love what he's done for the team. But just like the direction we're going, yeah, Dinwiddie's a better fit. But you got to look at what it's going to cost you also. And I think one reason I'd probably pick him over DeMar is that it'd be a little cheaper to get him. Yeah, I'm with you, Gregory. I don't really want that. But you could, feasibly save some cap space for somebody else to pair with him. But I just don't really see either being a great fit given what we have and what we're trying to build. It's just, great players, but maybe better somewhere else.
Yeah. My answer on it will be most definitely like I would most definitely pick Dinwiddie, like easy. Because even though I love DeMar, and I mean I got a fan page for DeMar, like I genuinely love his attitude. I love how he is off the court. But some things that I know Rob has brought up plenty of times that I just didn't want to listen to it, but completely right. These technicals and stuff that he does on the court is not winning basketball a lot of times. And yes, putting up 20 plus points a game is great statistically, but then when you actually see the games and you look at the eye test, he does enough for us to lose those games as well. So comparing him to Dinwiddie can shoot. Dinwiddie is more so the future of or not even the future. He's more so the present day of what the NBA is right now. I've seen plenty of games with him where he just put up, threes, put up, plenty of shots, know how to create a shot in a beautiful way. DeMar right now, he's still in that kind of old school basketball, the back you down, fade away, and him refusing to shoot threes is the main reason why I would choose Dinwiddie or another shooter over DeMar DeRozan right now. So Dinwiddie, like easy for me. And I haven't seen anything from Dinwiddie to make me believe that he doesn't play winning basketball. He seems like a really good teammate.
Yeah, I mean, I like them both. Both great guys, great, shooting guards. Both great scorers. They just do it in different ways. And honestly, I'd be glad to have either one of them. I mean, DeMar's he's a hell of a player. He's a hell of a scorer. I've been watching a lot of film, man, and that guy carried us, dude. DeMar DeRozan has carried us like this year, and lots of last year too when we weren't that good. So I really don't put it all on DeMar. I know I still believe in what you said. His attitude hurts us more than it helps us, and that's that. But he's I think I'd go with DeMar, to be honest, just for now. Just for now. I don't know. Anyways.
My thing with DeMar is I think, I always say I like the guy, and I do. He's a fantastic human being. My thing is, like, I don't even really get into, like, the attitude stuff. I just think the way he plays would fit much better with a different team. Like, you look at Atlanta's a team that's been rumored to be interested, and that makes a lot of sense because they got a guy spacing the floor at the point guard spot. They have a defensive guy at a small forward with DeAndre Hunter. They got a guy that can come in, play defense, and shoot at the 4 with Cam Reddish. They have Clint Capella now locking down the paint. DeMar gets all the space he wants to slash and facilitate. There's guys to kick to, guys to back him up on defense. That's just a much better fit than what we have him doing right now. And that's no knock to him. He's been phenomenal and done the best with what he has. It's just, like we say over and over, we were put in a spot with Kawhi Leonard, and he's kind of been left to pick up the pieces. And I don't necessarily think he deserves to have to pick up the pieces. And I don't know if he wants to do that. So, it's all about what is best for him, really. And, what's best for the team. But, he deserves whatever he wants to do right now. And if that's to go somewhere else, I completely support that. If he wants to stay in San Antonio, sure, let's run it back. But we'll see what happens.
I agree with you, Ruru. Everything you just said right there, it's the truth. But I kind of want to talk about this topic right now, or this question from Gregory Castillo. He said, I need to see if this is White's sophomore slump or if he can be what he was last year. And before we talk about that, everyone that's watching right now, if you can please go hit the like button down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, hit the little notification bell down there so you get notified when we put new content up for you guys. What do you guys think about the sophomore slump? It's definitely statistically, I don't think he took a slump. Effectively, how he helps us win games, that definitely changed because of his role change, right? From starting and playing with Lamarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan, all those guys for a majority of the game versus playing with, Rudy Gay and Patty Mills and some of these guys. For it was a big change for Derek White. To give him a lot of credit, he handled it very professionally from the get-go. Everyone was talking, oh, well, are you going to start or is DeJounte? Well, what's going on? And he was just like, oh, the ultimate pro. He had just come off the FIBA games, so he had played plenty of basketball. And so he did statistically very, very well, just as good as DeJounte. Honestly, it's like having two DeJountes or two Derek Whites on the floor at all time, that they're statistically at least. What do you guys think?
I don't see a sophomore slump.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, he played just as many, if not less minutes than last year. And he put up about the same, if not better numbers. I think the big thing is everyone wants to see growth from him, but if he doesn't get the minutes, he can't grow. So that's what I want to see is more time from him on the court. I mean, he's not going to score 37 every time out like he did that one Nuggets game. But, yeah, and also people need to remember this is essentially his second season. He's learning. But, I don't necessarily think I saw a slump, just someone who had a drastic role change and was doing what he could and just needs more time to shine. And like we say with all the young guys, time kind of heals everything. So I just think more court time and, more opportunity to show his abilities.
Yeah, I don't see a slump either at all, actually. Like you guys said, both you guys have said, it really was just a role change, a big role change. And not even that. If I think back at like the beginning of the season, I remember that players, it seemed like, Spurs are very low key. They try to, keep their cool and not say anything to the media. But it was enough context clues to see that players were basically saying that they would have preferred him out there early on in the season. So that tells you something, that this team changed his role completely. I mean, beginning of the season, even players were like, yo, I kind of want him out there to facilitate because he knows our spots. I think that's what Lamarcus Aldridge said. He knows our spots. He knows how to give it to us right now. And we were struggling with DeJounte at the time. So, yeah, as far as, whether or not he has a slump, I don't see it. Statistically, it's not there. And just from the eye test, just watching it, it's not there. He's been pretty consistent with his play. And he's one of those guys, too, that it's not all about statistics with him. Like, it's not about how many points he put up. It's not about how many assists he put up. A lot of times it's an assist or a pass to an assist. He just makes the right reads. He plays good defense. He's efficient. So, yeah, I don't see a slump. I think he's the same player with a little more confidence.
Yeah, his confidence has gone up. I think he has improved. You're absolutely right. His game, I mean, he's forced himself to take more shots. That's definitely something that he has done from the 3-point line and beyond. He's been a more active shooter than he was last year. Last year, he was just a straight facilitator, and he ran that team the best that anybody could last year. Like Lamarcus is right. Like he knows Lamarcus and how to get him open and get him going better than anyone, I think, on the team right now. And DeJounte, I mean, we forget about his minute restriction in the beginning of the season, right? So it's not like, DeJounte was just given the leash and given the minutes right off the bat. So Derek had to manage that. Derek had to come off the bench, win ready, knowing that he was going to play he was going to end up playing 2 or 3 minutes with the starters and then finish the quarter with the second unit. You know what I mean? So they asked a lot of Derek White this year. And I just feel like I understand where the question is coming from, because we weren't as good as we were last year, and Derek was at the helm last year, and we played at a certain level of competitiveness last season with Derek at the point, and we weren't able to do that this year. But it's not Derek's fault. It's not nobody's fault. It was really just we're a brand new team. We're a brand new team in the beginning of the season, and it didn't start off. We didn't hit the ground running, and I think the coaching staff knew that in training camp. That's why it took us so long to get going. We started off hot, right? We were like 4-1 in the first 5 games, And then after that, we kind of just we took a huge dive. But a lot of that was because we didn't know who we were, and we were getting by on just luck. To be honest with you, in the beginning of the season, but it caught up to us. But Derek White, I don't think was a problem this season at all.
Some of these games.
I just want to say one thing to Ruru's point right there, because I was looking, a chart went around social media this week, and I think it was like Derek White and DeJounte Murray. White was like 3 and DeJounte Murray was 4 in like the percentage of possessions that they guarded an opposing all-star. It was something like White guarded an all-star on the opposing team like 35% of all defensive possessions, and DeJounte was guarding an all-star like 34%. And they were both 3rd and 4th in the league in like points allowed and defensive rating. So yeah, their defense is mad underrated. She's right. Like, and that's why we want to see them on the court together. But also that's a testament to what's wrong with our team, because our bigs and the other guys are just bottom tier of the league right now, defensive rating, and we're relying on a 2nd year and a 3rd year player to be our defensive anchors.
Yeah. See that question earlier about Keldon guarding the 5, and I was like, I mean, we're not gonna do it because it doesn't make sense strategically wise, but could he do it? I'm like, yeah. And I feel the same way about Derek. You know, Derek can guard 1 through 5, man. He's just so smart. Like, he'll guard the 5 man, but he's not gonna body him up. He's gonna pull the chair on him, pick his pocket. He's gonna swipe down, swipe up. He's gonna draw the offensive foul. He's gonna do all those other things. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just that good on the defensive end. And you're right, dude. He guards the best, and so does DeJounte. DeJounte and Derek, you know, together, we only saw a small sample size of it, but man, defensively, it's hard to get in the paint when those 2 guys are out there on the floor.
Derek's my favorite player, man. He's my favorite player, and he's just like you said, he's just so smart. But defensively, he's so sick, so savvy. He's like a cat, man. Like, and he's so athletic. I love Derek White, man. If I had to pick one player on the team that's my favorite, it will be Derek White, and it's been Derek White for a couple seasons now. I'll
tell you what gets me about D White, like from a defensive perspective, I love watching his feet when he defends, because DeJounte's quick, but there's not many people who are as laterally quick as Derek is in the league. One thing about defenders is like DeJounte's real long, so he can get away with this. But they tell you on defense that if you can avoid it, you don't ever want to cross your feet when you're defending somebody. So in other words, you don't want to be shuffling and have your right go over your left. You can trip up, and that's when you hit ankle breakers. And
like
that.
That's when you end up on the highlight reel.
Never does that. I've like hardly ever seen Derek have to like. Unless it's in like a full court set where he's keeping up with the guy, but in a half court set, he's like always in front of his guy. Doesn't never cross his feet. He plants well. He changes direction well.
Yep.
And if he can, turn that into the offense ability we know he's capable of, sky's the limit for him, man.
Yeah. I noticed that too. I noticed he leads you. I don't know if it's going to make sense, but it feels like he leads you into your weak spots. Like, you can tell that he looks into a lot of film. And he rarely gets any blocking fouls or anything like that. One thing I noticed last season was it seemed like, because I don't like the way that, I love DeMar, but I don't like the way DeMar DeRozan plays defense sometimes. And I noticed that DeMar DeRozan started playing better defense and started looking more like Derek White in the midst of last season. It was like in the middle of the season, and it seemed like he picked up on some of the Derek White skills. So he's just so fundamentally sound, man.
Yeah, I think it's so crazy how he plays through bumps, and Keldon does the exact same thing, and that's what makes them two dynamically so hard to beat on the defensive end, is that they can close out to you. The guy takes the lane, right? They adjust, like you said, they don't cross their feet. They get low, they take the bump, and then they recover and get back in front. And I know that sounds easy.
Yeah.
But believe me, it's not easy. And you know what I mean? Those two guys are able to take 1 bump, 2 bumps, go around a screen, go under a screen, go over a screen, and still be in the play defensively by the time the guy's going to pull up for a shot or go to the rim. And they're still there to contest from the beginning to the end of when they're guarding one-on-one. Help side, Derek White is just as smart as a help defender. And Keldon needs to learn a little bit, but he also is very just naturally smart at anticipating from the help position. So those two guys alone. And I like this comment here by Joshua. It says DJ is a better defender, but Derek White is the smarter defender. I don't know if I would agree with that, but I definitely see where he's coming from. DJ has the potential. I mean, the All NBA, he's the youngest player, right, ever in history or to make All NBA defense. DeJounte, I believe so. So his defensive potential, is through the roof. And Derek White is sneaky, just as good. I feel like
that
different skill set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I was just gonna say that comment. I agree, but kind of disagree. I feel like Derek White is the better defender too. But at the same time, I understand where you're coming from, saying that DJ is the better defender because he has the most defensive potential because of his length and what he's accomplished, already. And the thing about, like Harrison said, he gets away with it, certain things on defense because he's so athletic, because he's so lanky. But if you actually just, watch those two and say who's the better defender right now, I would say Derek White. But I mean, DeJounte's close second. And I saw another comment right here by, let's see, you name my challenge. And I agree with this one as well, that Keldon's the best defender. So.
See, I don't think he's there yet. I think he's going to be within a year or so. One thing, Rob was talking about, like taking bumps and be able to recover, that DJ and Derek do well. The thing about Keldon, and what has me excited too, is Quinn Derry at a smaller position can do this. Keldon takes bumps and doesn't have to recover because he's so broad up top. I mean, we saw him. James Harden gave him a straight shoulder and he didn't move. So thing with Keldon is, and he'll learn this from White. He's got especially on help side, White does a really good job of watching the weak side offender's eyes. Instant the post guy's eyes turn away from him, he's on him because he knows he's not going to be able to see where the outlet is. And Keldon sometimes this season would shoot down towards the post and leave a three-point shooter right open, and he just mistimed it. And that just comes with, playing and experience, and he's not used to all-star level posts expecting him to come. So, he gave up a couple wide open shots, but I guarantee, next year he's not going to be doing that because he made the mistake once. But I definitely think he will be our best defender within a year.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, easy. Like I would say, in my opinion, I would see it being Keldon, Derek White, and then Lonnie and DeJounte, like right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's
definitely.
For sure.
All right, well, I think that's it, guys. Before we let you guys go, make sure again to hit the like button, the little bell down here, so you can get notified when we give you more content. The subscribe button. Make sure to share this video. That's all we ask from you guys to share our videos. Go to oocspurs.com. Check out our subscriptions that we have there. Our site is active right now. Check out our $1 subscription. We get all of our content in one place. So you don't got to go looking for it. You could just go to one place and it's all there for you. Check out our $5 subscription where you can join us for post games during this NBA return, and also watch parties. So we're going to be doing all these post game reactions for you guys. And we're also going to be like we are right now, watching the game. And you guys can watch and interact with us the same way that we're doing with you right now and putting y'all's comments on the screens and the questions. And we're going to do that during the game. Those are our watch parties. Right. And then we'll have our post games and we'll talk more about that later. But thank you for tuning in for us. Harrison, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you, man?
Yeah, we're at facebook.com/San Antonio Spurs Talk, Instagram at SA Spurs Talk, and Twitter at SA Spurs Talk 21.
Awesome. Destin, why don't you holler at everybody?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Spurs Dynasty. Right now, you can find me on Instagram, Spurs Way. That name is going to change soon, so I'll keep you updated. And also on YouTube, Clan the Spurs Fan. Also Facebook, Clan the Spurs Fan.
Awesome. Now, if you guys want to see, we talked a lot about DeJounte and Derek. I have a film room on both of those guys when they were on the floor together this season. It's on my YouTube channel at Bucking Spurs. Just search it up. You can find me on social media at Bucking Spurs as well. Also, launching a site, robtrejojr.com. check it out. I'm gonna have everything I got going on there from Spurs stuff to some drone stuff that I do and whatever. I'm just gonna throw it all there on that site for you guys. But thank you guys for tuning in with us. Make sure to go to oocspurs.com, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Adios, Spurs Nation.
Court is adjourned.